You're off the clock with Trish and Steve. Hey, Steve Bose.
Hey, Trish, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Happy Monday.
Indeed.
I know, right? It's like, is it Monday? This is exciting. I mean, we're not in the same physical place at the moment, but you're in town,
We are
Steve.
not.
But we are close. We are like 15 minutes apart.
Yes, there was a staff meeting I heard. I don't know when it is, but I'm waiting for my calendar update.
I
But
think it's going to
soon.
be tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. No, I just wanted to thank you publicly for coming all this way to attend the graduation parties yesterday. So, all the high school graduation festivities. How are you feeling day after? Good?
I'm properly whelmed. I'm not overwhelmed or underwhelmed.
Oh, okay.
I'm whelmed.
That's a success.
It was fine.
Very good. So I can't ask you what you
Sure.
did for the weekend because I know.
A very good time was had by some, I'm
I
told.
think by a lot, actually.
Excellent.
Yeah, and you know what? I was going to ask you if you got time with him, but we had a special guest appearance at the party from our friend Johnny C, who, as if people follow the podcast, they know he's been on the podcast a couple times. He's a huge fan of the show,
I
but
did
a huge fan
chat
of
with Johnny
you.
briefly, and it was very nice to see him. He looked well, as usual.
He did. He did. So, yeah, shout out to Johnny C, which everyone loves Johnny C, right? Everyone in Waterloo loves Johnny C, that's for
How
sure.
can you not? Everyone's talking. That's all I'm hearing.
Everyone's talking. Everyone's talking. Hey, I'm sure you've got a couple things. I have something to ask you. I know you're here.
Get rid of the
You're here
pile.
in the Midwest today, but you live on the East Coast, right? Outside of Charlotte.
I do.
Have you heard about this offer? This is from a Raleigh uh, extermination company. They will pay you $2,000 to release 100 cockroaches into your home.
Okay.
Let me
And
give you the story.
purposes. Okay.
Here's the story. So this is real. A Raleigh-based exterminator will pay each family $2,000 for the chance to release 100 cockroaches into their home. They
Mhm.
want to, you have to keep them for 30 days. Well, I mean, hopefully they die within the 30 days, but the idea is there's some
I don't
new
know about how it works with cockroaches, but go ahead.
extermination treatment that they want to test out. And so they need homeowners
Okay, so
to
it's field
volunteer.
testing of their extermination techniques. Okay.
And
Okay.
if after 30 days this new technique has not worked, they will then use traditional techniques, whatever that is, to come in and eradicate these cockroaches.
I don't know. I'm not sure I'm signing up for that.
I
I
was
mean,
going to ask you, would you do that?
no, I mean, isn't the whole story about like if there ever is, like a nuclear apocalypse, the only thing that will survive is the cockroach, right?
That's
I don't know if that's true or not, but we've heard that story.
they're
So, yeah,
difficult, right?
I'm not signing up for that type of creature that can survive nuclear, devastation to live in my house like willingly for just a few bucks. That
But you
seems
know what?
crazy.
A lot of people volunteer for even like testing of things on themselves, right? Medicines or whatever, put in your own body. But I'm thinking like 2 grand is a pretty good incentive. I don't think I would do it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
down.
Cockroaches kind of gross me out. I'm okay with spiders. If they were like, oh, we're gonna put some spider. Well, I don't know, 100 spiders. That's the other thing. 100 of something. That's
Yeah, they don't stay 100, right? They find ways to
right.
become
In
more,
30
I think,
days, they're
most of those
gonna.
creatures. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would do it. So you're a no. You'd vote no.
I'm
No to
out.
the
Yeah,
cockroaches.
I'm out.
What would you do? What would you let be 100 of into your house for $2,000? Is there anything? Doesn't have to be a bug.
Uh,
How about 100 cats? Would you live with
no,
100 cats for a month?
I would not.
You would
It's a
100
lot of litter
dogs?
box to clean up. You know what I
I think
mean?
100 of anything is a lot, right? Like that's a lot. Anyway. All right. Well, now we've got your vote. There you go. What do you got? What have you read up on?
Yeah. So, Trish, we've covered lots of shortages throughout the pandemic and whatever period we're in now,
Right.
difficulty with supply chains, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
Here's the latest, Trish. I give you, Trish, there is potentially going to be a shortage of sriracha.
Really?
Yes, and I heard
You
this
got-
news and I managed to get my hands on a fresh bottle of sriracha. Sriracha production, Trish, has been suspended recently due to a
Really?
chili pepper shortage, the main ingredient of sriracha. apparently there's been drought conditions in parts of Mexico
Okay.
where the chili peppers are grown and imported into the U.S. The company that makes sriracha is called Hoi Fong Foods. It's a California-based
Mhm.
company that makes sriracha, that makes sambal, a couple of other things.
Yep.
Apparently, this stuff, Trish, may be hard to come by. So I got a bottle. I'm going to hold on to it. If I don't open it, perhaps I'll be able to resell it at a huge premium,
Oh
months
my
down the line. So here we go.
goodness.
Get your
That's
sriracha quickly if you're worried.
It's funny you mentioned I literally just bought a bottle similar to that, similar size and everything, just last week. So, I
Oh,
guess
you're
I'm good.
smart. You're on top of it.
I've got some sriracha and didn't even know it was gonna be in a shortage. So,
Talk about
wow.
yeah. Talk about
Okay.
tragedy right there. No sriracha.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I wanted to ask you a question. Sometimes we talk about TV shows or movies or whatnot. Do you watch that the TV show Yellowstone at
I've
all?
heard of it. I have not. I've not ever watched it.
Kevin Costner. I saw a thing over the weekend. I think it was maybe on CBS this morning or something. They were interviewing Kevin Costner about, it's out in Montana. It's like it's the most, I think, watched scripted shows out right now. So apparently it's really good. I thought of it again today though, because there was a news story and it says Yellowstone Mountain is being renamed to honor the victims of the 1870 Montana massacre. I guess Mount Doane, Doane, is now being called the First People's Mountain.
Okay.
Uh, because of the massacre that occurred out there. So, um, anyway, it was a band of let's see, the Indians were the Piegan Blackfeet in northern Montana. So I don't know, but from the news story of the weekend, it just looked like a really beautiful place. I've never been to Montana. Have you?
I have not.
So
It's one of my maybe 7 or 8 states I've never set foot in.
yeah. So
I only have
anyway,
a few left.
I don't know. I'm thinking about watching the show anyway before I saw today's news story, and now I'm just kind of curious. I don't know if you're like me, but I read stories like that, and now I'm like, oh, I want to kind of find out about like what was that massacre about? Like who is this group of Indians that were massacred? What happened?
Yeah, I mean,
So
I think those things are good to bring those things
yeah,
to get more attention paid on them because I'd never heard of that. I'm
I
not
haven't
familiar with
either.
that issue, that massacre, anything like
No.
that. So yeah, if nothing else, it'll make people sort of, hey, what's that about? I don't know anything about that, maybe, and
Yeah.
look
It
that up.
says, well, Doane, Lieutenant Doane, who in 1870 it was named after him because of the massacre, sort of from the other angle.
Hmm.
He was one of the first people, key member of the Yellowstone expedition that year. So anyway, but it just tied into what Kevin Costner was sort of saying. It's interesting because he actually lives in Montana and then is, of course, filming this. And he said it's really interesting because it's a pretty violent show. They're kind of comparing it to like the Sopranos
Of the Old West kind
of
of
the
thing.
Old West, right? Because he was like, we kind of gloss over when you learn about it in history of just how violent a lot of these interactions were, and we were taking the Indians' land, right? So it was very violent, lots of, and so
Sure.
yeah. So anyway, interesting timing that came up right after I had heard him speak about that. So
Yeah,
check it
yeah.
out.
I got one more today, Trish. So
All right,
sort of a pay equity thing. We've talked about that some on the show.
we have
In the news this morning, or maybe over the weekend, but I just read it this morning. Google, Trish, you may have heard of Google. I guess
a
parent company Alphabet.
little
They've
bit.
they have settled a lawsuit that was class action lawsuit brought by 15,500 employees over gender discrimination and equitable pay issues. Google,
Really?
Google's agreed to pay $118 million out to this group.
Hmm.
They had been accused of paying female employees up to $17,000 less annually in salary than males for performing the very same job. And some of the jobs were even like one of the jobs in particular that was highlighted in the article I read was they had on-site childcare facilities at
Right.
Google, at least at some locations,
Sure.
and they were hiring in people to be care workers for at the childcare place, and they were paying like men $3 and $4 more an hour than women doing the exact same job with largely the same qualifications and backgrounds. So as is typical with these kind of settlements, Google's not admitting to doing anything
Right.
wrong, kind of thing, but they are paying out $118 million to over 15,000 folks for some pay equity problems in the past.
Sounds like they did something wrong.
You'd think so. I mean, always when those things get settled,
Yeah,
sometimes the paying out company just says, it's just better for us to have this thing end and go away, and
that's true.
we'll do the X, Y, and Z to make sure it never happens again. But we don't admit that we never did anything wrong, kind of thing. So,
That's true. I'm just disappointed because I tend to think of companies like Google who are so progressive in so many other ways that also because of just their analytics that they have on everything they do. How I just
oh
can't even
yeah, right.
imagine,
Google spent 15, 20 years
right?
telling us how to do people management based on data, right? They were famous for that, like kind of, and
Yes,
people would listen to them, right? They're a big,
right,
famous, successful company that made lots and lots of profits, and so you'd think like, oh, they must be doing their talent management right if they're so successful and it's all data driven, and they did love to talk about that, right?
right. That's
They
what I'm
they
getting at.
they did it all by data and science and whatnot. So yeah, it's not a great look. Hopefully, whatever was going on there is going to be or has been resolved and won't happen going forward. But it's notable, right, that a company like that was accused, and in a sense, you can't say they were found that they really did it. They didn't admit to it, but they did settle for quite a lot of money.
Yeah, it just shows you one of the things I know this was years ago. I'm thinking of it just because SHRM Annual is going on right now, but you and I used to be frequent speakers at SHRM Annual.
Shout
And
out.
one of the years, I don't remember the title of it, you might remember, we did a session on like the selection process for technology, right? How
Yeah.
to actually choose your vendors or the steps you should go through in considering. And one of them was, I remember, do you use your own product? Are you actually using the technology and the analytics for your own people, your own hiring? How does that work? To really make sure that the partners you're working with kind of believe in their product as well. So interesting to me that because Google had to be using their own technology to manage their people management, right? But maybe not well enough. So interesting and disheartening a little bit. I guess I'm disappointed in Google. So anyway, sriracha. Drown my sorrows in sriracha. That's what I'm
That's
gonna
my
do.
main message for this show as we wind it up. Go out there and get yourself a
Go get
bottle
your sriracha, people.
before
That's
you
what.
can.
And let me know. DM me or tweet me or something if you're watching Yellowstone. Is this worth it? Should I do it? Like what am I missing? I don't know. I wasn't a Sopranos person because I didn't have HBO at the time, but
Hmm.
I feel like I would like a Western version of The Sopranos. So anyway, we'll see. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your day. Hopefully you get through Monday okay, and we will see you back here on Wednesday. Bye for now.